James Mark is the Chief Operating Officer of the Therme Group in the UK, and Therme is a global player in urban well-being. So, James, can you tell me first how Therme defines and delivers urban well-being?
Good morning, Peter. Great to be with you today, and thank you for the opportunity for us to have this conversation. So yes, Therma Group, we are a global wellbeing organisation, and we are delivering our wellbeing concepts into cities around the world. Fundamentally, we believe that well-being is a human right and not just something that should be available for those that can afford it. So we believe in bringing accessible wellbeing opportunities into the heart of our cities. And we do that really through combining nature, bringing people closer to nature in cities with sustainability and bringing the origins of wellbeing, shall we say, from around the world into our concepts. At the heart of it, we believe that our wellbeing propositions form part of a health ecosystem of a city. So, you can define them as leisure, but absolutely they're also about thinking, well, how do we consider the challenges of our urban lifestyles, and how can we help to provide some balance within those lifestyles? We believe that cities are incredible living organisms with so much opportunity for human prosperity, but we also understand that they can be really harsh places as well, and often lonely and inequitable places. And so, we want to try and help bring some of that balance back into our cities and provide opportunities for people. So being part of the health ecosystem of, really as a piece of social infrastructure in the city. So you think that we have our schools, we have our libraries, our theatres, our museums, and actually, this a place of well-being that can act as a civic community centre, if you like, where people can come and have fun, but also, restore the balance in their lives and reconnect with themselves and with nature.
And how do they differ from, let's say, your normal leisure centre in a city?
So I think leisure centres provided a very and continue to provide an extremely important part of that infrastructure. And I think what we can do is we go significantly further, should we say, in the overall proposition. We are something that combines art and culture, food and nutrition. We're very much about water-based well-being. I mean, water is the sort of lifeblood of our propositions, and thermal hydrotherapy, and taking this, as I say, origins of well-being from around the world, into our facilities. And then we scale that up to be, if you like, something like reimagining the Roman baths for the 21st century. So really these sort of community places that everyone is welcome. It's very affordable, so not creating a kind of a barrier to entry through pricing, and also that it's very much these are places where you want people to come on a regular basis, so that it becomes part of a healthy lifestyle as well. So that yes, you can come for half a day or a day, but you can also drop in on a Tuesday evening because you have the time and you want to come in. So similar leisure centres in that regard. But the proposition is much more diverse, and it's also not so much about really active, pounding the treadmill kind of activity, or swimming lots of lengths. It's much more about creating a kind of an immersive experience, using these sort of more ancient traditions of warm water therapy, heat and cold contrast therapies. Those sorts of aspects. So, but yes, I mean, wanting to be something for everyone, for families, for people on their own, for couples, for older people. It really is a fully diverse and inclusive experience.
Perhaps you could tell me about where you have some of these already, and also you are building one in Manchester at the moment, aren't you?
We are indeed, yes. So we have a number of facilities in Germany and in Romania at the moment. And those are, the concept started in 1999 in Germany. So it's a very well-established product and very well-loved and cherished proposition already in Europe. And since in the last 5 years, we've been developing a global say internationalization program, whereby we've now created regions around the world, of which the UK is one. I'm part of the leadership team here, as you know, bringing the proposition forward in the UK. But we also now have teams in the US, in Canada, in Asia, and very much over the pipeline is developing for the next 5 to 10 years. In the UK, we have a vision which we call our 90-90 vision, which is 90% of the UK population to be within a 90-minute travel time of a Therma. And we see that really leading us to 6, maybe 7 Therma sites in the UK. Our first one will be in Manchester and is coming forward now. We've readied the site and due to be actively constructing the site by the end of this year to be open at the end of 2025. It's on a 28-acre site in Trafford. And we're very excited to get started with that, and we're very engaged with the local community there, and with the local authorities and GMCA in developing the proposition to get started at the end of this year. We're working with we're about to get back into planning actually for a renewed application for our scheme. Yeah, but as I say, we're very excited to get started there. We have our second site in Glasgow that will follow on after, is due to follow on after Manchester. And then we're building the pipeline around this 90-90 vision for sites in London, hopefully 2, and we'll talk a little bit about the aspiration there, as well as Wales and possibly the West Midlands, which would give us this sort of this 90-90 realization, should we say. And that in terms of what that means for UK PLC in delivering to that vision, it really is a big step change in sort of driving this policy change from being a very curative based society where the NHS is fabulous organization, obviously struggling because there's so much pressure on curing people, and we're really part of this very strong movement of wanting to keep people healthy in the first place. So the prevention agenda, health creating societies, rather than it being all about just sticking plasters and tablets, etc. So that's very much where we see ourselves. So in terms of UK PLC, a healthier nation, keeping people out of hospitals, obviously, big employer, big investment into the UK. So yes, that's there's some very impactful, should we say, hopefully on UK society.
And you're great supporters of culture as well. You've just sponsored the British Pavilion in Venice at the Biennale, and you're supporting also the Manchester International Festival, I think, as well.
Yes, I mean we it's a very, very important part of who we are and what we do. I mean our art program, Therma Art Group that sits within Therma Group, we are it's starting from a point that certainly again wanting art to be accessible within all our facilities, and that how art and design come together in our facilities. And that you shouldn't just need to go to galleries to see art, that it's part of it should be part of our lives, but also that we're a strong believer that culture is at the forefront, leads everything. So to make any shift in our society, it's led by culture first, and actually working within these amazing art institutions and supporting things like Venice Biennale and Art Basel and Design Miami. We are working with great artists and architects all over the world to promote a cultural change in our society. And we have what we call our Therma forums, which are really interesting high-level discussions around societal challenges, and taking this very cultural-led proposition. So so Manchester, obviously, being our first program, they are very much involved with the Manchester International Festival. That's also one, to kind of support the local economy and support the festival, but also then how we work with the local community, and start to engage with the local community, that Therma really becomes part of the fabric of the city. So at the last festival, we had a piece with an artist called Jeppe Hein, who we created an event called through him called Breathe With Me, which was where he went into schools and were teaching the children breathing techniques using art and brushstrokes. And then he did these, got them all to do little smile, like emoji faces, and how do they feel? And we collected all these emojis up and made that into an exhibition piece for the festival, but then the intention being that they will all feature inside Therma, in Manchester at some point when we build. And this year we have another piece that's coming forward with Tina Segal called This Entry. And that's going to be a very immersive piece of an installation that we're very excited about. So art is very important for us, and the whole cultural sector in what we do and how we connect to people.
So this is the NLA, and so what are you hoping might happen in London?
So in London, yes. So I hinted that that we're looking, for sites in London. I mean, we very much hope to be bringing one, maybe two sites forward in London in the next 3 to 5 years. The placing of a Therma is absolutely critical, to be, as we say, kind of in the heart of the community, in the heart of the city. So we are looking for one site that would be, very central in London, that would be, a kind of internationally iconic, representing London as a health-creating city. And that is, we have some exciting discussions underway around a potential site in central London, and then also looking for a second site that would be a little bit more on the into the outer boroughs, connecting a bit more out to the M25, a little bit of a wider area. I think the challenge from an architectural point of view, considering this is the NLA, Peter, the challenges are, for us is clearly that we build a very large scale propositions that, I mean, in Manchester is 28 acres. It's nearly like creating a new landscape, to be honest. We create a lot of gardens, a lot of landscape around a lot of public realm, and pavilions that sort of come up within this landscape that house all these different activities. And clearly, when looking for a site in central London, land opportunity, should we say, is the challenge. So we are looking at I mean, London, and comparing to New York and my colleagues there as well, thinking, well, how would we build a Therma, maybe with a different building typology, like thinking of the high street and potentially distressed assets on the high street and the changing face of the high street, and obviously thinking of embodied carbon and how we might reuse an existing building, but also how we might breathe life into a cherished heritage structure, which I think is a really interesting opportunity. And there are a number of discussions underway, where I think it could offer a really interesting, exciting opportunity to work with a very cherished Victorian structure that I think is very much looking for what it's going to be for the next 100 years. And as I was saying previously, that seeing ourselves as a piece of city infrastructure, we're not about the short term. This is we're a proposition that we build for the long term. Very high quality materials, very durable, and that's really important as well, becoming an iconic piece of the city, and it is very important. And so that's what we look for in a site as well, that it really can stand the test of time, and because as an organization we are kind of the full cradle to grave, should we say, of our projects, and we have now over 50 companies and collaborations that make up part of Therma Group. So we design, we have our own in-house architecture teams, engineers, project managers. We take it all the way through to operations, and so we operate our facilities as well. So it's really important that we take the full full kind of life cycle approach to our projects over a very, very long term. And other than the delivery companies, we're also thinking about then the content. So we have a number of content companies that are doing things like a collaboration we have with the University of Florence, where we are using the team there are using plants to help purify the air. It's called Fabrica dell'aria. It's a fabulous concept that thinks, how do you harness the power of plants to help to purify and filter improve internal air quality, through to our food and nutrition programs. And we have we work with Professor David Russell from Russell Partnership Collection to put together specific well-being concepts around food. So all the sort of the content that goes into our facilities is not bought in. I mean, it's all kind of homegrown, if you like, within Therma Group.
Very good. Well, I look forward to that coming to London. So James, thank you very much. And I must apologise. I introduced you from the Therme Group, but I realised that I should be saying Therma in future. So I'll do that next time.
Well, thank you, Peter. Yeah, so Therma Group. I always like to say that for the time being, anyway, we sort of are, from a UK perspective, one of the biggest things that people don't know a lot about yet. And I think for all your viewers and through the NLA, I mean, just to keep looking out for us, because it's going to be a wave of interest that's coming into the UK over the next couple of years.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter.